This is an introduction to the EMB-110 Preflight. When you first arrive at the aircraft, open the main cabin door and make sure the paperwork for the aircraft is in order. You will also be setting up systems in the aircraft to facilitate a complete exterior inspection. The first thing to do once you're in the cockpit is to verify the landing gear lever is in the down position before any electrical power is applied. Then select the battery master switch to battery or external if a power card is plugged in. Check the fuel quantity and select the flaps to 25%. Verify the flaps are at 25% on the gauge. Turn on the inertial separators and wait for the green lights to appear on each side. You can select the battery master switch to the off position at this time. A normal procedures checklist should be on board, as well as an originating turnaround checklist, an emergency checklist, and dripless stick. And the MEL, including a letter of authorization, and the MEL contents. There's also a performance manual and company ops manual. You should check that the revisions are up to date. And shown here is the revisions page. And finally, you have a set of pilots operating handbooks. Here shown upside down is Volume 2. Here's the front cover. And also Volume number 1. On the metal clipboard received from maintenance, you'll find your maintenance release. And under the release, you'll find on the clipboard any airworthy deferred items. And when you open the clipboard, non-airworthy deferred items. Again, the inside cover, non-airworthy deferred items. And when you turn the clipboard, you'll find weight and balance information and telephone deferral procedures. The last of the cockpit checks include the fire extinguisher, removed here strictly for demonstration purposes of the film, and a check of the airworthiness, registration, and radio station license of the aircraft located on the electrical rack above the tape deck or behind the co-pilot. After completing the cockpit inspection, we begin the exterior pre-flight, beginning with the stairs. Checks should include the door lever, the locking pins, the carpeting, and security of the steps. We then continue to the nacelle light. Check the nacelle light for security and cracks. Also check the left overwing emergency exit. Be sure it is flush with the fuselage. Underneath the aircraft, we'll first check the fuselage drains. Here is a close-up of one of the drains. Then check the antennas for security. See if you can name the function of each antenna shown. We'll then check for leaks at the fuel drains, the boost pumps, and the access point for the dripless stick. Check the condition of the left main tire. Look for hydraulic leaks around the brakes and brake lines. Check the security of the gear doors, and then check the security of the door linkage for the inertial separator exit. Be sure all the cowling latches are secure and that the exhaust stack isn't cracked or dented. Turn the propeller in its normal direction of travel, checking each blade for erosion and nicks. Also check that all of the spinner screws are in place and that no abnormal friction or noise is heard. Check that the oil cooler inlet and exhaust is clear of obstructions, and the condition of the inlet de-icing boot. Check the left side latches and exhaust stack, the generator cooling vent, and open the oil dipstick access door. Check for the presence of oil and that the color is clear. Replace the dipstick and close the access door and latch it. Check the fluid drain, and on SFAR-41A aircraft, check to see the fire bottle disc is in place. Check the flap hinge next to the trailing edge of the cowling, and note that there is only one stall strip on the leading edge of the inboard left wing. And check that the landing light and fuel vent NACA vents are unobstructed. Inspect the landing light glare shield and the condition of the protective plexiglass. Check that the stall detector vane is free and undamaged. On the wingtip, you'll be inspecting the nav light, strobe light and their housing, and the plexiglass shield above them. You'll also check the wingtip vent. On the left aileron, check for 2 static wicks, a bonding wire at the outer hinge, and the overall condition of the aileron and its trim tab. To check the aileron rudder interconnect, grasp the aileron and deflect it upward. The rudder should deflect toward you. Continue along the flap, checking the outer hinge point, the jack screw actuator, and the mid hinge point. Kneel down and check the landing gear again for hydraulic leaks that may not be apparent from the other side. Check the inner flap hinge point's asymmetry rod for security, and check that the bonding wire is in place.